Happy New Year and welcome to the first episode of 2024. And that's weird to say. It feels weird to say of the Restoration Group podcast, where we are sometimes silly. This one might get really silly, but we are always serious about investing in Oklahoma City leaders who desire to integrate their work into their Christian faith. I am your host, Clay Steves. I'm joined by the co-hosti, Aaron Scott and Michael Mead. And today we have a little, what could cause us to be more silly today, Michael, at the beginning of the year?
We're drinking whiskey.
Actually, I should have done this before, but
What's
let me
that?
just get a quick picture.
Oh, yeah. We're going to take a picture while recording.
Yeah, sure.
No,
We
just
actually
of
haven't had.
this.
Oh, I thought it was of us with the whiskey. Could it be the Restoration bottle? Because we are
Yeah,
drinking
there we go.
Restoration whiskey,
Yeah.
right? Thank you, John Mark Lawrence. Shout out to you. As you can
Got
tell,
it.
this episode's going to be a little different than a lot of our episodes. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy New
Cheers.
Year.
Cheers.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
It's currently New Year's Eve. we're filming this on New Year's Eve. We work hard around here.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's almost a countdown to midnight.
Well,
So
speaking of the countdown to midnight, what
Great
a
segue.
segue, Aaron
This is
Scott. Well done. It is good, isn't it? That's good whiskey. What is the last year? Like, can you name the last year that you actually made it up to midnight on New Year's Eve? Yeah,
ooh.
you can. Well, she's over here giving me a hard no.
Not like, oh, it's been a decade, but like, I don't, it definitely hasn't been the last few years.
Yes. Okay.
2018 going into
Oh
2019.
my gosh, he has the
Specific,
year
okay.
specifically.
I remember where we went, what we did,
Yeah.
when we got home.
What time was that?
Did something happen
Is
that
there
is
a
making
story?
this stick in your menu?
I
or your
drove
menu,
home and
your
I wasn't
memory?
being irresponsible in driving. That's like, I don't know if that's what you meant. It was a very tame.
No, I'm so
Oh, okay.
confused.
Sorry.
Oh.
I misunderstood your question.
Did
It
you
was-
have it?
Yeah.
Did you have a serving before we started?
Yeah, I've got pretty deep in the
Oh
bottle.
boy.
Listen, we got home at like 12:15. I
Oh,
mean, we did
okay.
we did the ball and left. And when we got
Oh.
home, Kimberly and I were both like, we are never staying up until midnight again. And we haven't. We're just not those
And
people.
we haven't.
Have either of you? I can't remember the last year I made
Yeah.
it to midnight, so I'm joining the crew. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you did remember. I'm with you. I can't remember. Do you do like the fake ones on Netflix, like with your kids that do like a Boss Baby countdown, and at like 8:30 you're doing the countdown of 10, 9?
100%.
Yeah.
So we found
Do you
a
know about
fun
these?
one.
Yeah. Okay.
We found a pretty fun one last year, and that's the thing is like when the boys were little, we didn't do anything. It's just like they're too young. They don't know any.
Yeah.
They don't whatever.
Yeah.
I think two years now we have done this what you're describing,
Yeah.
and it's like, but we found a fun one where it's like. It's almost like the exact kids version of what adults are watching on TV, where like you've got different entertainers that are happening as you're leading up to it. And the entertainers, though, are like characters that they know, like clips from Bluey,
So
clips
you're gonna
from
throw
whatever.
it over to the Encanto gal, and she's gonna be
Yes.
interviewing somebody about the count. Yeah,
Ish,
yeah,
or it's
okay.
just like a
All
clip
right.
from that movie or that show, or like a song that's familiar to them from,
Uh-huh,
that movie, whatever.
uh-huh.
And then, but it's like keeping you posted, like, okay, we got 5, but it's like 5 minutes till the countdown. They don't have any concept for like that midnight is a significant deal. So then it gets to it. I mean, they had on like headbands and crazy glasses, and we have like the noisemaker things.
What are
and
those
then,
things again? What was that? Woo!
and then we did the countdown. I mean, there was lots of dancing through the whole thing. It was like a giant dance party. I was very worn out. We did the countdown. They celebrated. I think we probably ate, cookies or something ridiculous.
Chips and queso.
Probably.
Well, yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we did the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were in bed by 9:30.
You probably like, I think they stayed up
so
later
good.
than normal,
Yeah.
but definitely not midnight. So no. And then it was like, all right, successful night.
I like it.
Good night.
Love it.
Clay, you have some older kids.
Yeah.
Ah,
Older
man.
than
Are they-
us.
and
they,
they're
are they
definitely
push-
staying
Are they
up.
pushing midnight?
New tension.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
tension that we can't
They
just
want
shut it
it.
down. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they want to stay up
Yeah.
and
Isn't
video
that
game
funny
night.
though? Because we all did at some point. It's just like so cool to do it, and now it's like, but why?
But why? Do you know how bad you're gonna feel tomorrow? And just kind of want some sleep. Like we
So
don't have
how
to
many
work.
of yours want to stay up till
Two.
midnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two
To
big
the older
ones.
two
Yeah.
boys, yeah, the 13-year-old and 16-year-old are like, yeah, we're gonna do this. So we try to keep it like controlled. Like, okay, you can have video game night, or you know what I mean. But they
Sure.
don't care about midnight. They don't actually want to stay up and do that. They just want the excuse to stay up and I don't know, play Minecraft or Brawl Stars or whatever game it is that they play that I don't know about.
Wow. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, so 2024. Well, let me get my notes here. I'm using digital notes today. This is different than normal. Michael's still over there being remarkable.
Maybe draw us a picture of a firework.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. And midnight, the ball dropping. So let's try to add some. Maybe let's add some value for our listeners and viewers at this point, besides encouraging them to get some Restoration whiskey.
Highly recommend.
It's really good. It's smooth. What are some family or personal traditions you have at the start of the new year? What's a family or personal tradition you have at the start of the new year?
I'm going to go first because mine is going to be y'all's.
Love it. That's great.
Maybe I should go last.
No, go first.
Yeah.
So,
you win.
Yeah, I know I do. No, trust me. You'll see why in a minute. So Brandon and I have a big jar. And throughout the year, we just write like anything memorable, notable, whatever that's happening. Well, just like on a little piece of paper, fold it up, throw it in there. And it's like anything. Like, we saw a snake on a hike, or we went to, this past year, like we went to Montana. So that would probably have several things on it, whatever. Or just like, we tried a new restaurant that we liked, or something funny that happened. Something really funny recently that definitely made it in the jar is that Theo cannot for the love figure out that he is saying the word Parmesan incorrectly.
How does he say it?
He says Parmesan. And a couple weeks ago, and this has been going on for months.
He says Parmesan?
Parmesan, it starts with a C. But a few weeks, maybe a couple months ago, it was the best thing. We're like at the dinner table. It's something that we have some Parmesan cheese on the table. And he's like, and I've corrected him at this point like a million times, but he's like, can I have some Parmesan? And I was like, okay, let's talk about this. I was like, again, this is like my millionth time. I'm like, it's Parmesan, pa. And I swear to you, without flinching, he goes, Parmesan. And Brandon and I just laughed hysterically. And so now that has become, literally last night we made spaghetti and he was like, don't forget the Parmesan cheese. And so like, we'll put that in there.
That's so good.
Anyway, all that to say, we do it through the whole year. And then on New Year's Eve, and we wait till the boys go to bed because I think as they get older, because I actually stole this idea years and years ago from a girl that I worked with. And at that time, her kids were getting to the age where they participated in this part. The boys are not at this age yet. But we then just take the piece of paper out one by one and reread them. Oh. So then you're just kind of looking back on the year.
So good.
And like funny things, great memories, stuff that like, Parmesan is really stuck with us, but stuff that you forget because it was back in January, February, whatever, and just reliving your year in that way and like kind of making like a mental note of like, man, there was so much to celebrate, so many positive things that happened this past year, and just kind of wrapping up the year in that way. And the reason I win is because Brandon actually used that to propose what would be, this New Year's would be 3 years ago. So we had finished all the pieces of paper and he was very sneaky. I didn't see it, but he slipped another one in there and he's like, oh, we got one more. And we take turns, like I'll read one, he'll read one, whatever. And so I get it out and it says, will you marry me? I win.
Michael, you should have gone first.
That's ridiculous.
Michael, you should have gone first.
I know.
First of all,
I
Brandon,
love you. You're the best.
Well done.
Well played.
Well done.
Yeah.
I have not ever heard you talk about that.
I've never heard the story either.
And
it like sits on our piano.
Stealing.
I want to
steal it. That's like so simple to do, the return at the end of the year is way higher than the effort to do it.
100%.
So that's an awesome idea. We're gonna start doing that this year, 2024. New year, new me.
New year, new me.
No, for real.
That's
it's like
so good.
it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm cheating a little bit, but this is close enough, and it is a meaningful one that we do. So I'm going back a week to Christmas, and it just is where it's one of the spots we reflect on the year. So it was the best wedding gift we got. It's a Christmas memory book, and so it's got some prompts of like different things about the season, but also just causes us to reflect on the year. And so that's something that we do every Christmas, 24th to 26th. It's kind of rough on when we do it based on our travel.
Boxing Day.
That's right. Maybe Boxing Day. But we'll sit down together and fill that out. And it kind of gets us to reflect on the year, capture. It's like what you talked about, but it's very isolated to the Christmas season. Yeah. So it's like capturing a memory or moment from Christmas season. There's a spot for like your Christmas card from the year that you want to keep or remember. So if you guys are good this year, maybe you'll make the spot where we'll keep your Christmas card.
That's assuming
it's always like,
wow.
I did digital one last year where I just like text it to people.
We can't keep that.
You could print it out.
We don't send Christmas cards, which is ironic.
Yeah.
But we do keep one every year. So that's one of the ways we like systemically pause and reflect on the season and then also on the year. And you know, I think it has 25 years worth of spots. So like we're going to run out, but like at this point we've done it every year since we've been married. So we've got, I think 8 Christmases down, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
I love that you do it at Christmas, but if you're listening to this, like you could do that same concept at the New Year as well. Like just writing a memory, like a thing and like one every year, which is also so easy. I really love that. Like it doesn't feel overwhelming. I know some people that do like really overwhelming things that just feel like it seems like a good idea, but then it feels like I can't keep up with that. Like that's not scalable for me. Like I'm going to lose track of this at some point. Cause I'll admit, like even like my memory jar thing, I just keep a note in my phone of like the things that I mean to put in there because I only stop and take the time to write them down like rarely once every month or two.
Okay, that's good.
Because it's like they happen in the moment and it's like, okay, hold on guys, let me get a piece of paper. But I can just quick jot it in my phone and then like in a couple months go back and like kind of catch up and like throw them in there. And I do that every few months. So I like anything that doesn't feel overwhelming and doesn't feel like I can't keep track of this.
Yep. Well, so we do that in Christmas. We also have an anniversary book that our anniversary is in July. So we kind of have it where we're at 2 touch points in the year.
Done.
That one is 50 years. So I got to stay alive long enough to be married for 50 years. I think I could do it. But so we kind of have those 2 points throughout the year. And I know we're in the new year, but that's just some of the systemic things that we do that are fun. So what about you?
Before you share what you do, you and I should cheers because we finished before Michael.
Cheers.
Boom. Nope.
Dude, if you broke that would have been so bad. You spilled all over yourself, didn't you? Just a little bit?
That's fine. It's good.
Yeah, we did. Totally dominated them. The question is, who will refill first?
I didn't know we were going for refills. I thought it was a 1-drink show.
You know, and I should have done this at the start, but we'll just do it at the 12.5-minute mark of this episode. Even the reason we're doing this is, you know, we talk so much about integrating our work into our Christian faith. We believe there's a lot of spilling going on over here, Aaron. There's a lot of
that was from the last thing.
We believe people are whole. We believe people are integrated, and all the elements of life affect each other. And then we also believe there are natural rhythms in life. And I think the calendar year, the seasons are natural rhythms that God created. And so that's the reason to even talk about personal things we do, is because we believe you, listeners and viewers, like these are opportunities for you to think through, what do you do in your family? Because what you do with your family does affect your business. What you do with your spouse affects your business. What you do with all these things are intertwined and integrated. And so that's why we're even spending an episode drinking some Restoration and sharing about what we do and celebrate at the end of a year in transition.
I will say, and I still want to hear yours, and I don't mean to keep coming back to mine, but I love that you said that because I actually, in a former role where I was the leader, I actually did the same thing at work that I did at home. We had an office, like a team memory jar. And because we would also start the year we would do kind of like an offsite situation. We would just go out of the office for one day towards the beginning of the year and, you know, order lunch and hang out. And a lot of it was just kind of relational and things like that. But we would do 2 specific things. One was we would look back on the previous year, and then one is we would look forward to the coming year. And on the look back, we would do the exact same thing, and we would go through the memory jar together, which inevitably has like tons of like inside jokes and like funny things that happen. And but I felt like I saw the same type of return and the same type of bonding that did for our team as it does in a same but different way for
same but
different way
different
for my family. So anyway, so you can implement a lot of these things, like you said, at work and at home, one or the other, with the same heart of like, it's all integrated. So
love it. Well done.
That's awesome.
Good
okay,
weaving.
Sorry, you should share your stuff.
I listened to Long December by the Counting Crows a lot in December.
How? It's
You
kind of.
play it in the office a lot.
I know. You guys are just now seeing my, because
Wow.
it reminds me to think back. That's my like personal one. Oh, Michael's writing a note to like probably turn it off during the month of December. Gosh, I love that song. It's my favorite band. That's my jam. And then mine's pretty.
No, don't downplay it.
I'm
Just say
sorry.
it.
Like, well, yours. You guys
I
are
know
both
that I
ahead of me.
won,
I
but
know.
like, it's still
Kirsten
valuable.
and I do annual family planning. So like every January we
great, though.
leave.
Mhm.
So we do an offsite. But Kirsten and I, as
yeah.
a couple, do an offsite and essentially
don't downplay
look
that.
at
That's a big
I'm
deal.
not downplaying.
Yeah.
It's just much more like practical and dorky and like okay. So we go talk about finances and talk about the year and what trips do we want to make. Where do we want to go? Where are our kids thriving? Where are they struggling? Where do we need to try to find an opportunity to love them or serve them differently? How's our relationship? So we kind of just do a checkpoint on us and our family. And so we go do that. We try to go to the lake, which is, something we love to go do and have somebody watch the kiddos and just get away. And we try to do it every
I love that.
January.
I love that.
It's a little family planning. And like, I know that can sound big. We really we'll do it just for like a day sometimes. Like it's not a massive, like, 3-day thing. We'll just go one night away. The two of us have a date and then walk through stuff together. And I learned it from Emmy and Mason Maddox. So shout out to them because they have a spreadsheet that they go through, which I know both of you, it doesn't feel right. They have like a spreadsheet that they go through and it's like a month. And I'm like, you guys are awesome. It's so incredible.
If we think that they only go through that once a year, please.
Touche. I should say they fill it in once a year.
Yeah.
That's exactly
But they're
right.
like, hey, date night, let's just look at this again.
That's why I love them.
And I love that about them.
Me
They're
too.
super organized.
You also, Clay, have more kids than a lot of business owners have employees. So like you guys really need that time to check in and make sure everyone's accounted for. Does someone need a performance plan? Do they need a raise? And
Dad needs a performance plan.
Yeah.
All the kids are doing good.
Yeah.
Mom's thriving.
Yeah.
No, but those like even some of those. I think it was at a family planning when I can't remember what year it was. One of the years that we were just like drowning when all the kids were really little. And Kirsten was like, I need you to take the kids to school. So it was even like a spot to where a discipline came into life. And so then I had to, because this matters as a business owner, I had to then go make different decisions at work to then prioritize that piece. And that was, I believe that was at one. And she was like, that would help me immensely because I got littles at home. I'm exhausted. If you could take them to school, do this one logistics thing for the next calendar year. And I did that for years. It turns into my favorite time. Actually, relationally, I still love that time taking my kids to school. So, So
there's some great interconnectedness there because there's a lot of people that would hear you say that and be like, sounds good. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And there was a time where you quote unquote couldn't do that.
Yeah. My internal operating system said that.
Yeah.
And I think as we just have to be willing to give things up.
Yep.
And that's,
And it's scale and letting go. And
all the things. All the
good.
things. Okay. So nobody's talked about this yet. So let's talk about New Year's resolutions. I
have 18 this year. I want to tell you guys about them in detail. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
I want to know what drives you crazy with New Year's resolutions.
Do you like New Year's resolutions?
No.
Okay. Me
I'm
either.
pointing at you
I'm not
aggressively.
judging.
You are pointing at her like
I'm not judging anyone who has them. I don't personally utilize them. And I really think it's because I just like, I don't know, it just feels like a lot of pressure to put on like one thing. And then I find myself, because I naturally operate in a like, I like a clean, fresh start for something. So it is difficult for me sometimes to start like, this is an example. If there were like a book or something that was like 30 days of whatever, I'm going to want to start that on the first of the month. And if I missed that, I'm probably just going to wait to the next first of the month. Like I have a really hard time starting in the middle of something.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I am trying to learn and implement the, I don't know if flexibility is the right word, but like the flexibility and the grace and also like the confidence to just like start something whenever the heck I want to, And I think New Year's resolutions directly like counteracts that. And it puts so much pressure on like, it has to start on January 1st. And if you fail at all in between then and December 31st, then in my mind, it's like, I'll just be like, screw it. I totally blew it. I can't. And that's just like, I think, to be really honest and not to bring this to too serious of a place, but like, I think it's actually like a mental health thing for me. Like it is too much for me to feel like, because it's like, I know I'm probably going to slip up at some point,
of course,
but then I feel like such a failure that it's just hard for me to come back from. So it's like, I'm just not going to set myself up for that because I don't need to, because because I can start something or make a new decision or change my mind on something anytime I want. Like I don't have to do it on January 1st.
Yeah. Come on.
So I would suggest you're not the only person that struggles with that from a mental health perspective. Truth. So thank you for sharing that. And I think that's a lot of people that put that like crushing pressure on themselves. And the reason, so I'm with you. I don't want to like beat up New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan.
I do.
Let's beat them up. I'll do it. They're the worst. There's no statistical evidence that proves that they're effective. In fact, all of the research
took it to a different level.
So that's true.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like 89% or whatever statistics are made up. I just made that one up. It is a high level of statistics of people that make New Year's resolutions have fallen off by mid-February.
Okay. Like I've heard that. I don't know what the number is, but it's a high percentage.
That's like quantifiably true. Okay. So they don't work. And I'm with Aaron. Like, I just want to give myself the liberty to start a new thing when I'm ready to start a new thing. And if I'm like worn down from a holiday season and I'm not in a place to like build and start something new, then maybe April is like my season to try a new thing, right? I also think like New Year's Day was on Monday this year. The day before was Sunday. The difference between Sunday and Monday is the exact same as next week, Sunday to Monday. Like it's just a day. It's an arbitrary system. And I do appreciate how a new year is just this cultural time to reflect. I do appreciate that. And I think there's value to it. But when I look back at some of the habits I have, and typically New Year's resolutions are very connected to like, I want to lose weight. I want to eat healthier. I want to sleep. I want to read more books. But so like really we're talking about creating habits in a lot of ways. Some of the best habits I have, I just started because it was a good time for me to start and they stuck because I did them like in my rhythm.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't go back and tell you when I started them, like what day it was, what month it was. That doesn't matter. It's the result that matters. Yeah. And so like in some ways you have a new opportunity every week for like a fresh start, but really to get super specific, like every day, every morning we get up is a fresh opportunity to start something new.
Come on.
And so I just don't want people to feel that like, oh, I've got to do it right now. And if I don't, then I have to wait till next January. It's like, no, just like try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
I think that's really good what you said, because really, I think just I think it's such a cultural pressure, and honestly, I might be taking it to another level now. I think sometimes it can really be it can get really tightly woven with like a Christian culture pressure.
Come on, girl.
Because it's like, we've got to have a word for the year and a theme for the year. And I'm not knocking those things. If those are things that you find value in, that's fine. But I think that it's become such a massive pressure that like, if you're not doing, like I used to have, because of my role that I used to have, like it would be just like an assumption. Like people just kind of like, what's your word for the year? And it's like, there's this innate pressure of like, well, frick, what if I don't have one, you know? And it just creates this thing of like, on January 1st, I have to have the word and I have to have the theme and I have to have the thing.
And if I don't, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
That's the implication.
And I just think it's like, we are putting, in this case, like in the specific case, like I think we're putting God in this box of like, you've got to show up and give me that word for the year on December 31st by midnight, or like, oh no, you know? And it's like, no, because maybe that's not the rhythm that God is working in. Maybe that's not the rhythm that he knows your life is working in. And again, if you are someone who likes to have a word for the year, a verse for the year, I am not at all like talking down to that. I'm just saying, make that a personal thing for you. Don't make that an assumption that it needs to be for everyone.
Yeah,
great.
And I think even if it's like some years you do, some years you don't, great.
Come on,
have the freedom and enjoy the freedom and the grace to do what makes most sense for you right now. Not blanket statement, everyone has to be doing this.
Yep.
What works best for me is a word for every fortnight. That's what I like to do.
Every what?
that's my personal rhythm.
Every fortnight.
I'm joking. Clearly, I hope that's clear.
How long have you known him? Have you ever heard him say the word
There's
Fortnite?
a cat. I'm sorry. I could not say
the inside? Oh my gosh.
No, but it's right outside. Oh my God. Are you afraid of cats?
I thought I was about to be attacked but the way you did that, I was like, it's coming for me.
No, I was like excited like a cat. I probably should have let that go and not said anything, but
you definitely should have pointed it
But
out.
we were talking about like Fortnite and stuff, so I figured like we're way off subject. I hope everyone's watching the video to see how afraid you were of that hypothetical cat.
I thought it was coming for me.
Are you afraid of cats in general?
I'm not afraid of them. I don't like them.
New Year's resolution, be okay with cats.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Okay, what do you think about New Year's resolutions and cats?
Cats, fine. I hate litter boxes, so I don't love cats for that reason.
For that reason, you're
Kirsten
out.
loves cats. Kirsten loves cats.
Mm-hmm.
So I like cats. Okay, great. No, they drive me insane. I hate the gym till mid-February.
Yeah.
Like it is exhausting. And that's the time of year you can't go run outside. You can't go get good exercise outside because it's cold. And well, I don't. Maybe you go run in the freezing cold because you're tough. I'm a weenie sometimes. But I like the gym and it is packed with all these people either preparing for the marathon run, which is great because it is great. Yeah. Everybody starts the beginning of the year. They want to get ready for April or May here in Oklahoma City. But yeah, no, I hate the gym at the start of the year because of New Year's resolutions. Because you can't,
Do you find yourself like, I'm just not going to go for the first few weeks and then I'll wait and show up when it's like people have cleared out? Or you just go brave the crowd? Oh, you just go and get cranky. Got it.
I just like glare at people like, you're new. You're not staying.
And you can tell it's
get
like,
off my machine.
You'll be gone in 3 weeks.
Everybody. Like I know everybody because I go to the gym at the same time. So you know everybody. Yeah. And it's like, get out of my way. You don't even know what you're doing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I know.
Note for everyone. If you show up at Clay's gym this January, he's not going to encourage you.
I know I should. My bad.
Get the heck out of here.
I do care. Stay. If I see you in March, like, come on, you can do it. You can
you can do it. Just get out of my way.
This year will be
Let me get my set in real quick. Yes, that's my thought on New Year's resolutions.
That's fair.
Everything you guys said, much more thoughtful than my crankiness about the gym. Okay, so as a leader, what is, and hold on, you know what? I'm just going to answer my question first right here. What's a personal discipline that you've implemented that served you on your journey? Mine is a word of the year.
Again, there's no judgment. Just don't tell me that I have to have a word for the year. I didn't know. I did not.
That's why it was awesome because she was doing that and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good in a minute.
And that's fine. I don't have any judgment against that. Just don't tell me that I have to have a word for the year.
You don't have to have a word for the year.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's been, for me, that's been a really fun one since the founding of my first business. So like to weave it together, the first year I founded a business was the first year I did it. So it's kind of coincided as an entrepreneur for me with that journey. And it has been every year I start thinking I know what it's going to be. And by the end of the year, God has redefined for me something through that lens of following him, of leading a business, whatever element it might be. And so I have enjoyed that, but I'm with you. I used to have it in a very legalistic, because we learned it in the same place, right? It was the same, like, you have to do this and this is the discipline. Sometimes I have it in November of the year before, and sometimes it takes me till February, for like God to really like sift it through and connection with him for it to come. But yeah, that is one for me that I love. Yes. And my one for 2023 was satisfied. And my one for 2024 is still TBD. I don't know the answer yet.
We'll check back in.
Teaser. Yeah.
We are recording this episode prior to actual New Year's. So
Correct.
Maybe when this episode airs, you'll have your word.
Maybe I'll have it.
It's New Year's Eve. He's got like 24 minutes until the ball drops.
Now. So. Yeah, exactly. We'll see. See what he does.
Good. Yeah. I'm with Aaron on the like felt pressure to do it, didn't get value out of it. Yeah. And it's just not a discipline that I have anymore, but I have.
Do you have one?
No.
Okay.
But I have, besides you, many friends that get a ton of value out of it. And I love that.
Asking a better question. Do you have a discipline that you implement on the journey at the start of a year? Not a word for the year. Yeah.
I don't know that I have, it's not time bound by like the start of the year. Yeah. Because I've tried to like break the chains of that as a relevant time construct. For me, and to be honest, this probably started as a like, I'm going to try to do this year. And what I'm getting to is getting up early and having some quiet time in the morning. Ooh. So there was a time where that was like a New Year's resolution or goal.
Yeah.
And it didn't stick. And it was like this process. And now it's.
I just imagine January 2nd, you slept in. You're like, I guess I'll wait till next year.
Run it back. That was just something I was traditionally like, I need to be somewhere. I'm going to roll out of bed with the absolute minimum amount of time to like show up to that place.
Yeah.
Reasonably alert and prepared for work. Like I was working when I was still struggling with this. So I wanted to change that today. And I'm talking about this specifically because, Aaron, part of what you said, like I used to have this, like, it has to be this perfect curated morning routine that I get up at 5 a.m. and it is this exact thing. And that was like the standard I held myself to. And anytime I didn't hit that, I would feel like I messed up or failed. And there was a time where I was getting up at 5 and that served me really well. And then over time, like my wife doesn't like to go to bed when I want to go to bed if I get up at 5. Yeah. And so, and like, I want to prioritize getting good sleep, but I also want to spend time with her. So now I get up a little later, I go to bed later, and I don't have as long of time, but it's like, it's the time that I need to just have that time to myself. I get up before everyone else in the house. And now it's a little shorter than it used to be, but like, it's serving me really well.
That's good.
And that's what matters. It's not that I'm like following the Instagram worthy morning routine. And there's going to be a time in the future where it changes again because our family changes and our season changes. And like, that's more of what matters to me. And if that's in January, that's great. If it's in September, that's fine too. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's really good.
What about you?
No, I don't have any specific discipline that I do like at the start of the year. I think I've already mused on that a lot, but I think that the looking back and reflecting on the past year is of such great value to me. I mean, I think that's why Brandon proposed the way he did, because he knows that making memories and being able to reflect on those and have like gratitude for those and things like that is of such great value to me that I would say that that's my discipline, is to end the year looking back,
remembering,
because I think it just, again, to your point, like whatever changes I make, whether that's on January 1st or September or somewhere in between, doesn't really matter. But just I will say, just taking the moment of, okay, this is a fresh year, and just acknowledging that kind of social fresh start as like, I want to look back and be grateful and think back on that and let that help frame my mind for what's coming this next year. So I would say that's my discipline, is the looking back more than the
implementing something new.
Yeah. And part of that might just be my season of life too, because the last several years of my life have been like, well, frick, everything has changed. And so it's like, it kind of feels like plans are useless. So it's like, I might as well just reflect back on what already happened, because like that's already happened. And I know that I have no idea what's to come. Yeah. And so it feels a little fruitless right now. So anyway, I don't know where we're on time, but I want to share, this is not a New Year's thing, but I just realized in something I said, made me think of, I have a group of college friends, and we are in 2025, we will celebrate 20 years of friendship. We have like a big trip planned.
In 2025?
Yeah. So like we're coming up on it. So like a year from when you're listening to this episode, we have like a big trip planned, because we're all spread out in different states now. We went to college together. We lived on the same hall, which, fun fact, is the same hall that Michael's wife Kimberly lived on.
Yeah.
Like,
what?
Yeah. Different years. I'm older than Kimberly, so significantly.
Shout out to being younger, Kimberly.
I wasn't going to say it.
No, it's true. But we lived in the same hall our freshman year of college, and it's crazy that this many years later, and like moving and family changing and all the things, like there are 8 of us that are still like in contact and friends. And years ago, gosh, I want to say it was like 2012 or something. I mean, I think around or a little bit over 10 years ago, we started a journal. And this is going to sound really girly, but just like go with me here, because I think it could be applicable for a group of friends, for like coworkers or people, like if you have a co-founder of your business, like we called it like the traveling journal, but basically you get it, you write like an update on your life, just like in a couple pages. And then there's a specific order, like this person sends it to this person, sends it to this person, and it goes in the same order. And then you send it to the next person. And by the time you get it back, then you get to read everyone's updates. By this time has passed. So obviously their life has changed, but
how long does it take?
Well, that's the funny part is that
how long does it get through
originally we were like, you can only keep it for 2 weeks.
Now?
And we had a period where it got lost and literally we couldn't figure out who had it for like 2 years. And we just got it back in circulation.
Like found it in the box, like in an attic or something?
Well, I won't call out my friend, but she was like, I think it's been in my nightstand. Not even like in a box or anything. Anyway, point is, I just got it back for the first time in a couple years, and it was hysterical because it's like, guys, so much has changed. I might as well just written, my whole life changed. Love you guys. Like,
and mail it on.
Yeah. But it's such a cool concept because you get to go back. And I know I don't know if you still do, but you used to do like 5-year journaling. Yeah. So it's kind of like that concept, but partnering with other people in that because you get to look back on, you know, and even like prayers answered. Like I was reading back when I had it just a few weeks ago on one of my friends in this, and she was really praying for and having a hard time like getting pregnant. Like she wanted to have a baby, and today she has 3. Just being able to like to read her writing about like, you know, why isn't God answering his prayer, and like just kind of like working through that and then seeing like, oh, how cool, you know. Anyway, I think that could be relevant even for a business, for a family, for a friend group, whatever, just like an interesting discipline, whether you did it once a year or you just kind of let it flow with however long it takes you. Maybe you lose it in your nightstand for a couple of years, whatever. So
that's a really cool idea.
That is a great idea.
I thought of something really practical that I do at the beginning of the year.
Get a quick share.
It's super quick.
I mean, we've had whiskey, so our time constraints are a little looser than we normally are.
New year, new
podcast. New year, new podcast.
I'll make it quick. So I typically do this in like the first week I come back to work in the new year. Okay. So I'll normally take some time off on the holidays. First week back, I'll block an hour on my calendar.
Yeah.
And I will do a time audit of the prior year on who I spent time with. So we keep, and I got this from Tim Ferriss actually.
Baller. We got having whiskey on the podcast from Tim Ferriss.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
I will do it twofold. I keep my work calendar and family calendar, like I can see it at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So we keep a pretty good log of the people we spend time with personally, like when we have dinners, hang out, family. And then I also have all the meetings and different things I did for work throughout the year. And I will just scroll through month by month on who I spent time with. And I'm doing 2 things. One is like, is this someone that I want to spend more time with this year? Or is this someone that I want to spend less or no time with this year? And just to be really candid, like there's some people that were on the family calendar that we just talked about. And it's like, we love them. God loves them. But like, that's not something we're going to schedule again this year. And so
do you do that like intuitively? Like you're going through the calendar, or are you like writing out, like how do you tactically audit it?
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of people that make the like no dinner list. So that's a pretty, and like, honestly, we've probably already made that decision by the time I'm reflecting on it of like, oh, I don't know that we're going to do that again. Like I was really draining, whatever, at least in the season. So it just kind of depends. Right. And that's like, I have developed that more. I'm probably 2 or 3 years in on doing that one.
Are Aaron and I still on the list?
Yeah, you guys can come over for dinner anytime.
I felt a little nervous right there.
You guys
My armpits started to sweat.
You guys are on the list. But from a business perspective, I think it's really easy to spend time with people and think we're being productive. But it's just like, we just need to be really honest about it. What is that time? And if it's not pushing the business, that's totally fine. You need to call it something else and then evaluate, is that worth the time? But like, don't kid yourself into thinking that
it's business.
That it's the highest and best use of your time while you're at work. So you either put it in a different bucket, or maybe it's not something that continues.
You do a time audit of the previous year, the first week back at work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's really good.
On the who I spent time with.
On who you spent time with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was life-giving and productive towards mission, business, and what was not.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
And it's both business and just personal. Yeah. So
good practical note.
That was it. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Any other final thoughts as we wrap up this
Happy New Year
kickoff of the new year? Happy New Year, Michael.
See you guys at the gym.
See you.
That was pretty good.
That hurt.
I would just encourage any business owner that is feeling the weight and or excitement of the new year, like ride the momentum, capitalize on the reflection of the new thing. But like when, not if, when you fall off the track and miss the routine, miss the thing, like don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. Try again the next day.
It's good. Mm-hmm. You?
I already said mine.
Yeah, something about the gym. That's right. I'll see you there. Verse for the episode is my final thought. The verse for the episode, and it's from Lamentations. Not a typical one that we go to, but I think it's essential and in the same heart of what you two talked about, that while it is the start of a new year, the truth of the matter is God's mercies are new every single morning. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if it's January, March, July, August, whatever. His mercies are new every morning. Pick yourself back up when you fall short. Pick yourself back up when you need grace, because God's given it to you anyway. So Lamentations 3:22, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Thank you for joining us at the start of the year. And until next week, choose life. Thank you for tuning in. To find out more about how Restoration Group can serve you or your business, click the link in the show notes below or go to restorationgroup.co.